Peter in the Bible was literally kind of racist. He did not like Gentiles. So like, if that's something you actually struggle with, like, confess it, bring it to the light.
Before going all in, I realized the last thing I wouldn't let go of is that lust. Everything has to be let go and dropped at the foot of the cross.
Jesus says we cannot live for two things. Like, we can't live for God and the world. We were trying to live for the world and also try to like please God here and there, but you cannot serve two masters. It doesn't say like, come to me and like hold on to like what you're holding. Like, he says like, come to me, come to him, and like you will have that rest that you've been like longing for.
Should I start with racism right off the bat?
Yes.
Okay. All right, welcome to Bread and Banter.
Crazy.
This is wild. We literally met very recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the new show. How you feeling, bro?
Dude, I'm like...
Don't get nervous on us, bro. Come on now, dude.
Dude, I'm like shaking a little. I'm happy, I'm excited. I feel like this aligns with everything that I think God has been pushing me towards the last like few years, especially with like social media and all that stuff. So, yeah.
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 Our goal with this, we are self-proclaimed goofy guys, I guess.
Yeah.
But we love the Lord. That's crazy, bro. Yeah, bro. But we love the Lord, and so our mission with this podcast is to encourage people to follow Christ, to deepen their faith with Christ. But also, I mean, you and I are both recently baptized. I have plenty of friends that have found the Lord through social media, and so we don't want this to be just for Christians. We want this to be for everybody. That's why we have the bread, right? The bread of life, but then we also have the banter.
Yes, sir. Talk to me.
So that's kind of our vision for what we want this to be. You'll kind of get a feel for how these episodes work, but we'll hit a specific topic, but then we'll always make sure to end with some banter. But we should probably explain who I am, who you are, how we met, because this is, bro, we met like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, literally.
Bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, you wanna dive into that?
Yeah, for sure. So, honestly, we knew each other, kinda through a mutual friend, just through church and all that stuff. But we never really actually like talked to each other until you hit me up. Like,
yeah, bro.
What was it? I think it was 2 months ago.
This man does not respond to
Yeah,
his text,
bro. I was dipping.
He faded me aggressively like you never even see him, bro. We're talking 3-4 separate messages unread, bro. Unbelievable, but it's fine.
I feel so bad. But it was 2 months. I feel like I have a right reason to be dodging it. I got married. Well, actually, before that, I got in a car crash, which was crazy. Yeah. Then I got married, and then I was on a honeymoon. So it was hard just responding.
Nah, Michael's on a generational run, folks. It's amazing. Now we got the pod, bro. I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we look like we probably met like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I just for your audience, who's probably the primary people watching this right now, I work in the podcast film space. I had a podcast back at Northwestern when I was studying there, and it was I did a lot of stand-up comedy, so it was funny. It has its things, but it was not rooted in Christ. And I really feel called to just be a weapon for the kingdom, or do my best to do so, play any part. And so plenty of people told me to reach out to you. I was like, let's make it happen. You were like, dude, this might be an answered prayer.
Yes, sir.
And now we're here, bro. This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy, but I'm super excited for what the Lord's going to do with this. That's enough yapping, I feel like. That's enough yapping, right?
Yeah.
So we wanted to start with our testimonies.
Yeah.
Right? We'll see how that goes. We really try to not tell each other things prior to the podcast.
Yeah.
So I don't think Michael's actually heard my testimony.
I have not.
I have heard his, but I'm excited to hear it again.
It was very abbreviated because it was at church and baptism and
Yeah. So yeah, I can open up with that, and then we'll go from there. So I did tell you this while we were having coffee when we met like 2 days ago. I was in a cult.
Yes.
And that's it, dude. No. I was in a cult for 10 years the first 10 years of my life. The Branham cult. They were moving a bit different, you know.
That's crazy.
Their church services were like 7 hours long. It was They talked more about the angel Michael than like Jesus. It was very strange. And so after that, I was kind of very put off to too much church stuff. But I never said I didn't believe in God. I always, believed in God. And I went through middle school and high school proclaiming God, but living a completely different lifestyle apart from that. So I would consider myself like a lukewarm Christian. Yeah, and I would minister to people, I would spread the gospel to people, and then just be such a hypocrite, be doing the wildest things.
Fake.
Bro,
yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah, and literally one of those, we'll get into it, but one of those friends that I was ministering back in high school when I was on a mad thing, just got baptized, which is amazing. So even in my brokenness, the Lord cooked, bro. He cooked unimaginably. But so I went through middle school and high school being lukewarm Christian. I got to college. At the time, I was dating this girl for 3 years. At the end of freshman year, that no longer existed. That ended, and it sent me down this spiral of just like looking to overcome it by myself. So I started going to the gym. It probably doesn't look like it, but I was going to the gym. I was eating crazy amounts of food. I was just seeking everything of the world, right? How many people can I meet? How many parties can I go to? How many girls can I talk to? And finding my validation in that. And I was in that for like 2 years. And then this is where this story gets just wild. So this whole time, once again, I'm going to church. I'm like doing the right things. But slowly inside, I am not satisfied at all. I'm telling myself I am. I'm doing all, I was in a band. I was the lead singer in a band. That was amazing. I was doing stand-up comedy. That was amazing. But something was missing. So then I go and study abroad in Barcelona. By the way, that's the greatest city in the world. That's not even that's the greatest city in the world.
I was in Spain but I was in Barcelona, so
cool.
I was in Madrid and then Seville.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love Barcelona. I lived there for like 4 months, did a study abroad program. It was amazing. And I ended up meeting a girl out there, an Español, actually a Catalana, okay? Because Catalunya, Spanish is my first language. I know you just learned this because we just met.
Yeah.
I'm Puerto Rican. There's so many things we got to talk about, but let me stay focused. So I do that study abroad trip. I come back, and I missed it so much, just Barcelona, and my homies that I made out there, but also this girl that before my senior year of college, I decided to spend like $1,500 to fly by myself to Barcelona.
Down bad.
Down horrendous, bro. Down horrendous.
Oh my gosh,
bro,
wow.
Down horrendous.
That's my monthly rent here.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, what am I doing? And it's not like, dude, I'm in college. I'm not making any money.
Yeah.
My parents were like, "Is this a good idea?" I was like, "Yeah, this is a great idea." Dang. And they were like, "What is this kid doing?" But I went. Down. Quick aside. I think the Latin Hispanic culture that I feel like is not as much here in the woodlands of Pennsylvania. It was really just captivating me.
Yeah.
I've spent a couple years of my life living in Puerto Rico, but mainly in the States. So I think I just really wanted it. I was craving that.
Yeah.
So I drop a bag and a half. I go to Barcelona. I'm there. Okay. I get there. The first day, I meet up with this girl. It was great.
I know this is going.
It was awesome.
Possibly.
Okay. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I meet up with this girl. I'm now like, oh, this is the best thing ever. We're gonna get married. It's gonna be chill, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mind's already going there. And then I booked a 2-week. I booked a 2-week vacation, bro. I didn't see her again till the very last day. So now I'm in Barcelona. I dropped a bag and a half. I am staying with a buddy of mine who's in school, so I have nothing to do during the days, and I'm there for 2 weeks, and this girl just completely ghosts me. And so I'm there, and I'm like, dude, I came out here seeking joy and fulfillment and happiness in something that's not going to satisfy. And look at where I'm at. I'm walking the streets of Barcelona by myself.
Rough.
Like down $1,000+. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm still in my pride. I'm going to just go out. I'm going to meet some people. It'll be great. I'm still finding the fulfillment in that. So I do that. I'm texting this girl. She's not responding. Dude, if she's watching this, which she might, that would be hilarious. ¿Qué tal? I don't know. But so I'm doing that, whatever. I'm on the metro one day, just feeling down bad. I'm actively down bad.
Yeah.
And I open up my phone, and it's a quote from C.S. Lewis. This is now like my favorite quote. I re-download Instagram to just doom scroll, and the first thing that pops up is a Instagram reel of C.S. Lewis quote saying, "Human history is a long and terrible story of man trying to find something other than God, which will make him happy." Dude, I read that on the train. It hit me like a ton of bricks.
Oh.
And I was like, you've never fully given this a shot. You said you're a Christian, but you don't want to let go of the lust or of the crazy money aspirations or career. You're not willing to let any of that go. You're not willing to fully live like a Christian. You're just kind of like, yeah, I believe in God, but that's where that stops. So in that moment, I was like, I need to fully commit to this. I've never fully given this a shot. It's never happened. So there was nothing it was very logical. There was nothing like emotional, overly spiritual. I was just like, yeah, like I've never fully given this a shot. And so I did. I came back to the States. The first thing I did was I met with my pastor. I told him what happened. And I said, this can't continue. I want to fully live for Christ, like fully, everything, all of it.
This is at Covenant Fellowship?
Yeah, this is at Covenant where we go to church. This is right before I go back to Northwestern for my final year. And as soon as I get there, I get plugged in to as many Christian groups as possible, which I'd been avoiding because the enemy had been saying, nah, bro, Christians are whack, dude. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff, which is not entirely inaccurate.
Yeah,
I'd been not doing that. So I plug into that, and this is definitely not the reason you should become a Christian, because the reason is because Jesus commands it, and it's our only form of salvation. But I will say my life since that moment, it's black and white in terms of how much change the Lord has brought, how much more fulfillment, joy, peace I have. And I'm going through trials even actively, and I handle them differently because I know that I serve a Savior that already won, and that is so empowering.
Praise God.
And so, yeah, I ended up doing a full year at Northwestern, basically stopped drinking, stopped smoking, stopped really going out, spent most of my time building my podcast, doing some stand-up, which was now clean stand-up, which was interesting.
That must have been hard.
And what's crazy is the clean stand-up I did to end my time at Northwestern, it actually went really well. I was making, my parents are, dude, okay, real quick. Am I a product of an interracial marriage? Question for you. My dad's from Puerto Rico. My mom's from Delaware. Is that interracial, bro?
Wait, what is she? What's her
She's just
ethnicity?
regular. She's just very white.
Oh, yeah.
That's interracial?
Yeah, it's interracial.
See, bro?
Interracial.
Yeah, I'm different, bro. But anyways, I did a whole bit about what it was like being raised by them. No, it was all clean, went great. So even the things I thought I would have to give up, like stand up, the Lord provided a way. So that's my story.
I feel like we have to touch on the cult aspect.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you want to talk about, bro?
You said you were in it for 10 years?
Yeah, bro, it was against my will, you know?
Okay.
It was from age 0 to 10.
Okay.
So I didn't have much of a say. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
whipping on
when was like the breaking out point of you leaving the cult?
Yeah, facts. We skipped
Yeah,
through that.
yeah. Let's hear about that.
It's so funny. This is such a call to read your Bibles. My mom, actually, she starts just reading the Bible, and she's like, "What? This is not in the. What are we doing?
It's not in there.
It's not in there, right?" And so she would ask the pastors, and they would basically be like, "Yo, chill." Right? They were just telling her to chill. And my dad, because he was bought in, everybody was bought in, he was like, yo, like, you know. And the more we asked questions, the more they would kind of condemn us.
Okay.
And then my dad started getting a little suspicious. Because, you know, you'll go through a 4-hour sermon and Jesus isn't mentioned. What are we doing? Right? And it got to a point where he started approaching the pastor's team and being like, what we're doing is low-key not in the Bible. Like, why are we doing it? And they were like, dude, questions are from the pit of hell.
Dang.
And then... this was hilarious, bro. This is how you know. This is top tier cult stuff, bro. This is where I love. The downfall of cults should be studied because it's always very similar and it's hilarious. There was a pastor. This is not that funny, but it's kind of funny. It's not funny. I'm sorry. The pastor had a terminal illness. Dude, he's a horrible person. That's not funny. He had a terminal illness.
It's a coping mechanism. I'm not laughing that he has a terminal illness.
Dude.
It's just like a coping
for
mechanism.
all the people that follow Michael, bro, it's just crazy. Like
you're about to see like
he used to be a role model, but like, bro. And they were basically like, listen, we gotta pray, and if he's not healed, it's because of your sins.
Oh, that's rough. That is.
So there was like a date that they picked. There was a date. There was a time, and it was like this buddy's gonna get healed. We're praying. We're doing the whole thing. If anything, he gets worse, right? This guy is crazy, bro. And then they're like, yeah, this is your fault. This is the congregation.
You.
The congregation.
Okay. I thought it was like pointing you out.
Nah, there's a 10-year-old holding my toys, like, bro. No, they were like, this is your fault. And we're like, what, dude? And all these prophecies never came to be. They would never happen. And I'm pretty sure you guys can look this up. The William Branham cult. He was like, there was like all the Old Testament prophets, and then we had a pyramid, and at the top, William Branham, bro. So you got like Moses, all the homies, and then William Branham.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he thought he was a prophet. Yeah, and the crazy thing is, this is where it's when the gospel gets manipulated, man. It's so heartbreaking because my parents were saved in this church.
Yeah.
Like they were not Christians. My dad has a wild story we should totally get to at some point.
Yeah.
Unbelievable story. But they were saved through this church. But then they save you on like the gospel, and then all the other stuff gets added in, which I think may be a conversation for a separate time. That's why we're seeing a lot of transition to Catholicism and Orthodoxy because people feel like this hasn't changed.
Yeah.
There's not going to be funny business.
Yeah.
We're not going to get the Drewski, blood of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Insanity. He's swinging through the
crazy skit.
Like we're not going to get any of that.
Yeah.
And part of that is really appealing to me as well. And I think that these kind of cult aspects tend to be more Protestant. But thankfully, you and I are in a very healthy church now.
Very healthy.
The theology is amazing.
Shout out Sovereign Grace.
Shout out Sovereign Grace. Shout out Covenant Fellowship. But yeah, dude, I was in a cult, so it's a cool little, when people got those games, so they bust out like fun facts.
Yeah.
It always ruins the mood, but it's funny. You know what I'm saying? Like I was in a cult.
And I'm still in it. Let's go. Come on,
bro. Pull up. But yeah, the Lord delivered us from that. And now, thank God, everybody in my family is a Christian. My sister as well, who's in it too. And we're much happier, bro.
Dude, that is nuts.
Yeah.
But also, I also just want to ask one last thing that we can get
Go
on
ahead.
my testimony. Go ahead. The girl that you met on the trip.
Yes.
Did you see her again after when you came back? You saw her the first day, and then you didn't see her again. When?
So study abroad, we were like together.
Okay, yeah.
And then I went back to Barcelona, saw her the first day, nothing, just unbelievable fade. You know what I'm saying?
Nuts.
Unbelievable fade. And then the last day, she was like, yeah, I guess I'll see him like the last day. Like, what, dude? So the very last day, I see her for like 30 minutes. And then I hop on a plane, I was like, what? Like, typically, I love side quests. This was a horrible side quest. This did not go well at all.
Yeah, that was
except
terrible.
for the fact that I found Jesus Christ. So never mind. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It had to happen. But yeah, it was nuts. And then like, of course, I get back and a couple months later. Then she's texting me like, as I'm like starting to really lock in with my faith.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm getting the text.
Yeah,
right?
temptation, bro.
And that's how that works, bro. And hopefully we can get into the lust stuff. But yeah. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say how were you feeling? Especially like not having you weren't a Christian, you didn't have any foundation. Like, were you depressed or like you were definitely cooked? Like you're down a bag, and then yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah. The moment on the metro was This is the problem with studying film, like a weirdo like I did. I'll think of myself like, oh, that was.
I was like, I'm in a movie.
That was a movie moment, bro. I hate people who say that too. I just said that. It bothers me that I even said that. But I was sitting there, I was like, bro, I'm down horrendous. And I open up, and the first thing on Instagram is like this quote that smack, and then I just slowly put the phone in my pocket and just like
contemplating like wow.
Like, what am I doing with my life?
And you said it was C.S. Lewis?
C.S. Lewis, bro.
Dude, okay.
Mere Christianity.
Yeah.
My favorite book.
Yeah. C.S. Lewis, he has to be like sent from God because he knows too much. Like, he's dead, right?
Yeah, bro.
Okay, yeah, he's been dead. But like he has all these.
I don't know why you said it like that, but yeah, he's not on this plane anymore.
Everything, like he has like all the books he's written, all the quotes, like they're just so applicable to like the here and now, and like obviously like he was a Christian, so like everything was inspired by the Bible, but still like he just I don't know. That's a conspiracy thing we can talk about another episode. But I think C.S. Lewis just knew way too much for his time. And
You think? Oh, bro, we got to get into this at some point. You think there's like a conspiracy behind that?
yes,
Okay.
but
Wow.
that'll be for another.
We
time.
got to say that for another time. I'm also like a tinfoil brother. You know what I'm saying? I'll put on the tinfoil hat.
Oh, okay.
We
You're
can-
really conspiracy.
We can talk
okay.
about conspiracies.
Okay.
I love conspiracies.
Okay, bet.
We're getting derailed, but this is the whole thing. We got the bread. We got the
Yes,
banter.
sir. Come on.
Yeah, I would love to hear the full story of your testimony.
Honestly, like, thanks for sharing.
Thank you, bro.
I love hearing people's testimonies because it's just like so encouraging to see how like God is also working in other people's lives. So that was a blessing. But yeah, so my testimony. I grew up in a Catholic household, kind of Catholic. My mom was Catholic. My dad was a Episcopal, and they were very similar in a lot of ways. But a lot of the foundations of the faith is a lot of just doing works, doing like the good things to almost be right standing with God. I'm also Nigerian, and my parents came from Nigeria, and their culture intertwines with their religion tremendously. There's just, I feel like as a whole, I kind of just like the picture, there's just like a lot of like pride and building yourself up and like working towards God, and also working towards being seen well in front of many, which affected my story tremendously. Like all throughout my childhood, when I would go to church or like I had any idea of a relationship with God, I was just like, oh, I have to work for this. Just as like I've seen in my house, seen in the church, like I have to work for God. And obviously like we're kids, and especially like, yeah, sorry, I'm getting, during this time, I was like probably, I don't know, like super young. So as a kid, we're just super rebellious. Like anytime our parents says go right, I'm going to go left. And with that being said, combining with like being a lot of like works-based type of mindset in the religion, I was like, I'm doomed, I'm cooked. I was a terrible kid, and that's a whole story of its own, but I just thought I was going to hell because of that. So, yeah, I just really thought I was cooked. But moving forward a couple years, a lot of the kids in the park went to a United Methodist church, and my brother Steven started playing in the park with a lot of them, and then eventually I started playing with them as well. And they invited me to the youth group that was in, it was like, I'm like thinking about it, it's like probably a block away from the house. And they had a youth group, and they invited me, and that's the first time I heard the gospel for the first time. And
What age was this?
what was it? How old were we? Like 7th grade?
I don't know, 13, 14?
Yeah, like 13, 14. I heard the gospel for the first time, and I believed in it, but I didn't really like submit my life. I was just like, okay, my life is terrible. I guess I didn't tap on this, but like my dad was an alcoholic. He was physically abusive. My mom was definitely impacted with the culture. So if we didn't do good in school or like whatever it is, we were kind of like almost condemned. So I just felt like my life was just not where it should be. Like I grew up in a a white community. Not to turn this on race, but it was like a
We'll
very,
get to the race at the end.
yeah. It was like a rich community, and like my dad was like kind of like, he did his best, but he didn't provide in a lot of ways. And my mom was a nurse, which like nurses make good money, but it wasn't enough because like I had 5 other siblings, so we were kind of like struggling in a lot of ways. And I was just like, dude, my life sucks. And I look at everyone around me, and they have 2 parents who are like working, and they have good jobs, and they're rich, and they're doing all these cool things. And I can never like go out and do stuff. So like I just wanted something to save me. I just felt that I needed something supernatural to save me. And so I heard the gospel at the youth group. I was like, I need this, and I want this. But I would say the church I was at was pretty lukewarm, and it was kind of just like, oh, believe in Christ and like your life will be good, and there wasn't like a submission. So I kind of just got on the high of youth group culture, going to youth events, youth retreats, and mission trips, and there was never any true change. Fast forward to about high school time, I'm still in the youth group, and life just starts taking the craziest turn. All throughout school, I did sports, I did track, and one of the kids that I taught how to do high jump, he committed suicide. And this was like the first relation of anyone that I knew who like kind of died.
Was he a close friend?
I would say during the year, so it was my sophomore year that I met him, and I like taught him how to do high jumps. Like when you do track specifically, I mean, this is every sport, like you spend a lot of time together, and we got really close during that year. But then fast forward to the junior year, he didn't come out for tracking, and I was like, okay, like what's happening? And I would see him in the hallways, like, dude, like come out, and he'd be like, yeah, like I will. And then soon after the season started, we got like a email from the school, or someone texted me, is like, yo, this dude, he passed away. And I was like, okay, was it like no one wants to say it's suicide right away, and then we found out a little bit it was suicide, and that absolutely cooked me. And not even 8 months later, still part of the youth group, and I was, what was it, senior year, I was part of the youth group. I was like a leader. I would lead worship at the youth group. And one of the kids he was in 6th grade, so he was like 12. We went on a retreat, and dude, this absolutely like irks my like soul every time I think of this memory. We were at a retreat, and we did this circle thing where we had these like mug elephants, and you took a piece of paper and then you wrote like one thing about anyone in the room. It could be one person, it could be two people. A lot of other people did like multiple people, but this 6th grade dude, he signed the paper, and he was like, oh, like, Michael, I only come to youth group because of you. Like, you are like a light in my life. And I was the only person that he wrote to. Everyone else wrote to like 2, 3, 4 other people. And this hit me. And later that night, he asked me to sleep in his room with him because his friend that he brought was leaving, and he was like almost begging me to like, just like, bro, like Michael, like, can you please, like, and I said, like, I'm 18, like I can't do that. He's like, Michael, please, I want to be with someone. And I was just like, my brain wasn't processing this had anything to do with depression or like lack of just feeling loved, and this kind of like stuck in my brain, but I didn't really think anything much of it. Then 2 weeks later, my youth pastor texts in the group chat with all the people in my youth group, was like, I'll just give him a fake name. Zach was found dead after blah, blah. And she lists like the whole like kind of like details of what the situation was. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like my life is like falling to pieces. And this, oh my gosh, this threw me into a depression that I never really spoke up about until I came to college.
You're in high school still.
Yeah, this is the senior year. I think soon after that, this is the end of junior year. And then I go into senior year, and then I start getting discipled by this new worship pastor. And this was like the first time I actually felt encouraged in my faith, and like someone was actually like pushing me. Shout out Pat Kenna, I know he's gonna watch this. He like actually pushed me in my faith, and he like taught me things about the faith. So I was just like, okay, like this is more than just believing. I actually like my life has to look different. Yeah, so that kind of, the discipleship kind of took place. We wouldn't like meet up one-on-one, but we spent a lot of time at the church. And then we eventually got to the end of the year, and I decided I was going to Westchester. It sounds like it's like super sporadic, but it's all gonna connect. So I was more in my faith, and someone from my church was part of a ministry here at Westchester called Campus Crusades. And I was just like, oh, like, I don't know if I want to get into the Christian stuff. I was kind of the same, but like Christians are kind of weird in some places. Like I thought my youth group was the only thing that was kind of like, okay, like this is pretty chill. And then he was like, oh, like I found like my wife here, not as a reason to go, but just like,
you said, hold on.
I was like, wait a minute, like, but another side note, which, I was super anti-woman at that point. Not like
in general. What do you mean by anti-woman?
Yeah, that's a wild thing to just say. I liked women, but I was scared of women. Yeah, I thought...
Real quick. Let me just pause real quick. No. A couple of things. Number one, I have friends who do this too. So there's woman,
okay,
which is a woman.
Yeah.
And then there's women.
Yeah.
And women is like a group of women.
Mm-hmm.
You keep saying woman, and I keep picturing in my mind like a one woman.
Yes.
You're like, I'm scared of woman. I just picture like a woman, you know? Like you talk about women, but you say woman regardless.
Plural, like
right.
Like,
but you say woman for that.
No, it was plural.
I have friends who do this, and I apologize. Second of all, why were you scared of women?
So my parents just didn't have a good marriage growing up, so I was just like, okay. And all the relationships around me, like people just cheat, and no one can stay loyal, and marriages suck. So I was like, why would I even think about dating someone? I would try to like talk to girls, just like talk to them, but just wouldn't ever go anywhere. So I was
So
just
it wasn't
like,
even on the mind. You weren't even thinking about it.
yeah, I was just like, nah, I'm never gonna date. Like my family literally knew me as this person. Like
That you
Michael
never
just
gonna
won't ever marry anyone. Like that was just like people knew of me. So yeah, I came to college. He said this thing, and so I started to get plugged in with crew and started going to all the Christian events, kind of just repeating my youth group culture, getting the high of like going to events. But that's when I found my now wife, who
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Rachel. And we started going to the same things. We were both on the track team. We both were part of crew, and she definitely was in the same boat I was, believed in God, but wasn't submitting her life. And we both struggled with sexual sin, and it ended up, just fast forwarding, it turned into, yeah, just indulging in sexual sin. We lived in the same dorm. We were like a level apart from each other. So, yeah, the atmosphere of college just kind of like pushed us into that area. And then get to February of, also you can ask a lot of questions because I'm kind of jumping around, but fast forward to February of, February 12th of freshman year, my roommate commits suicide. And this one, I find his body, and I'm just like, bro, what is life like? I don't really talk about this much, but like I genuinely thought it was just like, if this is all life is, just like people constantly just committing suicide, like what's the point of this life? Like I believe in God, but I'm just like, is it better to just be in heaven, even though I didn't technically fully understand that aspect? And yeah, so that sent me into a deeper depressional route, and that's when I met up with someone from crew, and they do a thing called crew core values, and it's just going through the gospel and kind of see like where people are at. And he hit me with the question, you probably heard it, for like, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you would die right now, like what's your confidence that you would get into heaven? And I said, what did I say? I think I said like a 5, and he was just like, it's either like a 10 or like 0. And like he explained that through Jesus and his sacrifice, that like he paid the payment for all sin. So like if we received him, John 1:12, like if we receive, for those who receive him and believe in his name, we're given rights to become children of God. If we submit our life to him and believe in Jesus, we can have a full assurance that we'll be a child of God and get into heaven. And that like rocked me like a boat. Like I heard the gospel my whole life, but I never fully like understood that I actually had to like receive him, like submit my life to him. And that like hit me with the boat. So like all this depression and my roommates dying and like feeling like I'm not enough my whole life because the way I was raised kind of was just like, and like he also, like as he delivered the gospel, like Jesus can take your burdens, like he can like lift this baggage that you've been carrying your whole life. And I was like, okay, like that is awesome, but I didn't fully submit my life there. And then I feel like I'd grown up as a kid, and throughout like just like my adolescence, I was the person that bottled my emotions. So like all these people that like were committing suicide, like I would get into a depressional state, and I'll kind of be like, okay, like I'll numb myself to the situation. And then when my roommate who passed away, his dad, or it's not his dad, I think it was his like foster dad, reached out to me, and he was just like kind of trying to get all the details out of me, like seeing if he knew something more. And like it just hit me like a brick wall. Like this is your reality, like this is life, like the wages of sin is death. Like if we do not see Christ, like this is possibly where you can end up. And in a weird way, God used all the baggage of like the last 20 years of my, I think 18 years of my life, and some random day in my dorm, I like dropped on my knees and gave my life to Christ. I submitted my life to Christ because I thought I was a believer like then, but like I became a true disciple of Christ in that day. And ever since that day.
Which day? The day he called you?
Soon after that day. I'm very fuzzy with I feel like my brain is like traumatic responses, like blocking out a lot of stuff, but very soon after that, I submitted my life to Christ, and life has been changed ever since. So sorry, that was a lot of yapping, but
nah, bro, that is, yeah, I got goosebumps, bro. That's crazy. I wrote about this in my testimony too. I think you and I are similar in this way. Like prodigal son, man. It's unbelievable how much running in the opposite direction I was doing. It sounds like you were doing.
Yeah.
The fact that God still chooses to turn around and to accept and welcome you, and the Bible says that He runs towards you. It's just unreal. This might be a little bit of a tangent, but a lot of people love to claim the God of the Old Testament is not the same God as the God of the New Testament. And until I started actually reading my Bible, part of me kind of agreed with that. But when I started reading, especially the Old Testament, which I've been reading, doing a Bible in a year plan, I'm about halfway. The amount of times that God shows mercy on the Israelites over and over and over again. They mess up. They forget. They have to be reminded. Then God gives them another. It's unbelievable how much forgiveness there is. And you were saying in your testimony about just giving it to somebody who can actually handle that, all of that trauma. That is such an unbelievable feeling. Like for anybody listening who hasn't felt that, giving your trauma, your baggage, your anxiety, your goals, your aspirations. This is so cringe, but the term I use is going all in. I always say, I don't know when I was saved. I know when I decided to go all in, which meant that all of me is Jesus's.
Yeah.
There's not a part that if there is, I want it to be exposed. That feeling is so freeing, man. And just hearing your testimony and, oh man, it's just, I'm so grateful for what, I don't want to get all sappy, bro, but I'm so grateful for what God has done in your life. And I just see the story of the prodigal son in both these stories, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful, dude.
Yeah, I feel like, and I'll say this to anyone watching, like Jesus says we cannot live for two things. Like we can't live for God and the world. And it seems like a lot of our stories, like we were trying to live for the world and also try to like please God here and there. But like God basically says like, come to me all who labor and are heavy laden, like I will give you rest. Like it doesn't say like, come to me and like hold on to like what you're holding. Like he says like, come to me, like come to him and like you will have that rest that you've been like longing for. But you cannot serve two masters. I'm just repeating this, like you cannot serve God and the world. And I learned that very greatly through my story.
Yeah, the thing I maybe this is a great segue into our topic today with lust. Hopefully this episode isn't too long, but I think it's a great segue. The thing I wouldn't let go of is that.
Yeah.
I had a pretty rough time when I was younger making friends. I got pretty I dealt with a lot of bullying and a lot of just tough times as a kid, socially, emotionally, and physically and whatnot. And so that kind of made me find my identity in what people think about me. And so after the breakup, that was so tough for me. So I was like, my identity was in this person. And so before going all in, I realized the last thing I wouldn't let go of is that lust, is the validation, particularly from women. It's like, yeah, I'll give you all of this, but let me keep this.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you're saying. It will not work. Everything has to be let go and dropped at the foot of the cross. If not, it won't work. And so maybe we can get into overcoming that and letting go of that. It is so freeing. I know. Actually, I don't think you know my story or I know your story, which is what's so cool about this. This is completely organic. But I'd love to get into, we got some questions from your audience about lust.
Yeah.
And we can kind of take them one at a time. But yeah, it sounds like you and I both have some stories within this realm.
Yeah. Definitely have to.
Oh my goodness. This is like the most, I was just getting a haircut, bro. Haircut won't wait too long, okay? I got a Puerto Rican barber who happens to also be a Christian, told me the wildest thing.
Wait, what's his name? Oh, okay, never mind.
Dude, there's a lot of Puerto Rican barbers.
Yeah,
to be fair,
say,
it's like one of our, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We make music and we got barbers and we do some boxing, you know what I'm saying? But Puerto Ricans, you know what I'm saying? That's, yeah. But anyways, I was talking to him and we got into it about lust. He told me it's a crazy story.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not going to say I already said his name. We might have to bleep his name in the edit.
Yeah.
This is what he told me. We got into lust. We started talking about pornography. This is just a tangent, but it is what it is. He said one day he was looking stuff up on his laptop, doing what he shouldn't have been doing, and he's about to watch this video, and on the screen, he sees the word sinner.
No way.
In fiery letters.
How? What?
Unbelievable. He was like this. He was like, I have no other way to explain it. And since that moment, he hasn't even touched anything close to pornography.
Dang.
So I thank God in that moment, like he was like, I saw the words sinner at the top of the screen in fiery white letter, or fiery whatever letters.
Was this like an ad or a?
No, he thinks it was like God showing him.
Dude, that is crazy.
Which is unbelievable, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, God, bro, can you give me something, like, you know? That'd be kind of sick, bro. Like people get these stories, dude.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing, bro. The Lord shows up in unique ways. anyways, I started talking about lust with him, and I was kind of asking him about his process. But one of the questions we got was, when you feel like you're doing well in this category, how do you keep yourself supported by the Lord?
When you feel that you're doing well,
Snaps.
how do you keep yourself supported by the Lord? I feel like, also, I know I mentioned this to you before, but just to like reiterate, I lead a purity group with a ministry called Kura. It's part of my job, and I love it tremendously because lust has been a huge part of my life. And I feel like we get in these phases where we aren't dealing with lust as much. Like, we aren't watching pornography. We aren't, like, our eyes are kind of just like locked in at the gym. Like, we aren't falling into sexual sin. And we kind of like pat ourselves in the back, like, you're doing such a good job. But at the end of the day, like, if Christ isn't the foundation of all of that, then it means absolutely nothing. Because we know when we put our, like when we put anything on our back, because we're such sinful people, like, we're going to turn into something, it turns into pride and leads to another sin, and then we're just going to fall. And like, you hear stories countlessly over and over again, and it's like, oh, like, I'm doing so well. And then like in purity group, like, I had people like, I've been free for 4 or 5, 6 months. And then they like put so much, they give themselves so much like praise, and it's like, oh, I did this. And like, they almost leave God out of it. And then they fall, like, next purity group, like, oh, I've fallen. So I would say, like, the way to keep yourself grounded is just like surround yourself with like-minded people who are also trying to see victory in lust, and make sure those like-minded people are also believers just as you are. If you're not, then possibly find some other purity group that's like actively seeking, trying to find victory in that. But I feel like the Bible is very clear about just surrounding yourself with brothers around this, like iron sharpens iron. Like, the only way you're going to keep yourself walking in victory is if you're constantly walking in the light with other people. But unless do you have more thoughts on that?
I was a product of exactly what you're saying. Leading up to me, thank God, I've been free from if we're talking specifically about pornography, for over a year. But right before, I had 5 months, I had 3 months, I had 6 months.
Yeah.
I was doing it for the sake of doing the streak and not for Jesus. Jesus was not the center.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to fight this. I can do better. Jesus has to be the reason.
Yeah.
And that's why being in your Bible, going to local church every Sunday, like fully immersing yourself in the life of a Christian, I think is also so important here. To have, like you said, accountability and people that you surround yourself with is unbelievably important. If you don't mind, I want to take a little bit. I also went the non-spiritual route to educate myself on what is this? What is pornography? What does it do?
Yeah.
Scientifically, spiritually. And so I guess I'll start first with the scientifically one. This will actually get into our next question. We know now that porn addiction is a very real thing and can be just as hard, if not more difficult than some hard drugs to overcome. It completely rewires your dopamine system. And it affects so many different areas of your life that you don't even realize when you become dependent on it. And I realized that there's the chemicals that are at play when you're doing things like this. All of this was designed by God for marriage. And so whenever it happens outside the context of marriage, regardless of what it is, even if you're by yourself, there's something happening incorrectly.
Yeah.
And someone gave me the analogy of Velcro. The amount, like, if you stick Velcro, new Velcro together, that's not, you know what I'm saying? You're good.
Yeah.
If you continuously Velcro on and off, maybe not the right movement, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Velcro will not work any longer. Those pathways will start to shut down and break. And I was like, the more you do this to yourself, the more that Velcro is going to become weak. So that, God willing, if the Lord brings, and I mean, we're talking about men. I know women's rates of this in particular are skyrocketing.
Yeah.
So this is for everybody.
Crazy.
The more this happens, the weaker that Velcro gets, and the weaker or more difficult times you have ahead if God gives you a spouse.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. So that's the science aspect of it. And I was watching Andrew Huberman and all these people.
Yeah.
And then the spiritual aspect of it, the spiritual warfare. For people who don't know this, look up Al Goldstein. Look up Al Goldstein on Wikipedia. He's one of the kind of founding fathers of the American pornography industry. He said specifically in an interview that porn is used as a tool to target Christians.
What?
Specifically to target Christians. I read that and I could not believe it. It says it on Wikipedia. It was made, one of the uses of this is to target Christians.
Dude,
so
that
no,
is
when you're
crazy.
indulging, it's all given to you in a pretty little bow. It's normal. It's healthy.
Yeah.
There is a very real spiritual war going on for your soul. And pornography is one of the strongest ways the devil uses this tool. And it's unbelievable. Dude. The people who founded this are directly, they're not, it's funny, they didn't target Muslims, they didn't target Buddhists, it's specifically Christians.
Yeah, why Christians?
Right,
Why
and I
Christians?
mean, this gets into that, we don't have to get into it, but the whole Epstein thing of like, why is it that they were making fun of a cross specifically and not Buddha and not...
any of these other religions.
Maybe Jesus is real.
The truth.
It's the truth. And these people want to degrade the truth and mock the truth. So when I had, so hold on, this might be actually a spiritual tool to evoke war on my soul.
Yeah.
Scientifically, it's very proven. This is just not good for you. It's not good for you. It's not good for your brain. It's not good for your dopamine system. And then you add the Word of God. You got the trifecta there of different angles. That was kind of when I was finally able to give it to Christ. And I'm sure we'll get into this with the other ones. And then for me personally, I had to set up so many practical boundaries in my life. Unbelievably so. To this day still. That we can get into. But I can already hear somebody asking this. Why is defeating lust so important if it only hurts me? Right? Because even with my Velcro thing, you're thinking, all right, yeah, well, I'm not having sex with other people, but I have porn. But that's only for my, that I'm only affecting myself.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
I would say to most men, your plan and goal is to get married. And, well, first off, it's against God's design. Like, God meant orgasm, ejaculation, all those things to be part of something like you do, like in the confines of marriage. But the one thing, it's not affecting anyone. It will eventually. I just got married about, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And that first, few days of having sex, it, destroys, you're degrading her in the way that, your brain might be going to other things, or you can't orgasm because you're so used to your own hand and you're certain positions in a video that you're trying to recreate as you're watching porn, and then you get to a real person, it's just I can't even get hard at this. And God has blessed my marriage, and we've been having great sex, which is funny to say. It's been phenomenal. And it's something that Christians should talk about more because it's a blessing from God.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Good stuff, bro. Proud of you.
No, but it is. It might not seem like it's affecting anyone else right now, but it will eventually. I know that you are most likely heading towards marriage, or that's a thought in your brain. So you will affect someone eventually. And we can also talk about you are affecting people now, the way that it affects your brain. In the book that we're reading called Unwanted Sexual Desires, it's about a psychologist that I can't think of in this very moment. But when you watch porn, your brain does it to almost recreate sexual trauma. I won't be able to explain it well in this podcast right now, but it's trying to recreate something, make you feel like a hole in your brain and heart traumatically. I won't be able, like I said, I won't be able to explain it well. But so you're almost disassociating, and it does stuff to your brain, and it almost it does something to your brain where you just lack in motivation, and you lack all these different things. It almost makes you a futile person. You don't think there's any direction in your life. And I've experienced that tremendously. And I wish I knew more of the science of it, but yeah, I feel like you are going to affect other people.
Yeah.
It might not look like it right now, but you will.
Yeah, it's a cop-out, I think. It's a cop-out, and if your plan is to get married, guaranteed. There's that super viral Forrest Frank video. With Bryce Crawford, where he gets emotional. And he's like, yeah, the first time I had sex with my wife, we had to stop. She said, what are you doing? And he was like, he realized he was doing something that he had seen. He wasn't being in the moment. And it was degrading, and he felt so bad. And he was like, wow, I've let other people, things I've seen, infiltrate this sacred moment.
Yeah.
So it will down the line. And then I love what you said about motivation, bro. The freedom and power, once you overcome, at least particularly pornography, that energy goes somewhere else. I think you've probably experienced this as well. the amount of time and energy I have to dedicate to other things that are actually beneficial for my life. That stuff does impact other people. Relationships, your career, your school, whatever it is. All those things impact other people. Who you're going to be. What are you going to do with your life? Right? And so I think we should definitely be careful when saying I'm just doing this by myself, because it will affect people down the line, and it's actively affecting your life, which, given that you have friends and family, is affecting other people.
Yeah, I feel like also, like, you said something about how it's like very similar to drugs and what it does to the brain. Look at someone who is addicted to drugs. Like, look how they're acting out. It might affect them in a different physical way, but like, looking from a scientific perspective, if porn is affecting your brain, like, you're definitely acting out in a way that you wouldn't be if you weren't addicted.
100%. The things, I mean, I was broken prior to going, like, to fully committing my life to Christ. The things I would do to, like, hook up with a girl, the lengths at which it's like, what are you doing? And now, of course, now that I've been able to get over that, that's not even a remote thought. Another thing I learned on the science thing, and we'll move on to the next question, was your brain in moments where, I mean, I guess this could work for sex too, but like in pornography, when you're watching pornography, it will bond to your surroundings, your brain. So the more you do this by yourself, the more you're bonding to your surroundings, you're teaching your body, this is where sex is supposed to happen.
Wow.
So then you get to a real sexual experience, and then you have trouble. Why? Your brain has taught itself, we do this on our own. And you're also less likely, there's so many studies, you're less likely to find a spouse or a mate. Why? Your brain goes, well, I always have the out of just pleasuring myself.
Wow.
I don't actually have to go and pursue.
Yeah.
And as men, especially biblical masculinity, which we just had an amazing men's conference, as men, we ought to pursue. And you're greatly subduing that when you're watching pornography. And then I would really recommend this book, The Death of Porn by Ray Ortlund. I don't know if you've read it.
I've heard of it.
Amazing. Very short. Super. I'm not a book guy at all. You can read it in literally like an hour. It's very short. And you are gravely disrespecting the people you're watching. That's another thing. That is affecting other people. You are disrespecting God's sons and daughters. You're basically saying your value is only worth X amount of time in my life, and only time where I'm pleasuring myself. That's it. Then you're gone. Next video. There's something so evil, carnal about that. And it gets back to why this was created by the enemy to target us. So, yeah, I think we can safely say it's a lie. It affects other people.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a great one. This can maybe get us into like the setting up guardrails. How do you deal with lust that happens from loneliness or boredom?
I think just the like idea of just God calls us to be in community. And one of the verses I always quote is Hebrews 10:24-25. Like, do not, and I'm paraphrasing, like, do not neglect to like meet up with people in the faith, to like stir each other up to love and good works. Like, God just calls us to be in community. Like, I know as men, it's so easy to just go to your room and play video games for hours a day, or just, and this is like everyone just like watch Netflix and stuff like that. But like, God calls us to be in community. So as hard as it might be against your nature, like, God calls us to step out of that, like, go against the flow of the world. Because it's normal for guys to be loners and play video games for hours a day. And but God calls us outside of that and to like step out of things that don't feel good to our flesh. So, but I'd love to hear what you had to say on that.
Yeah, dude, this was a massive one for me. I feel like for me, the way it worked was, I'm home alone, bet, right? I'm not doing anything else with my time, bet.
Yeah.
And so, as cliche as it sounds, and everyone used to say this, and it would always bother me, but it is so true. Like, you should only be in your room to sleep.
I agree.
Have a designated work spot, your bed's for sleeping. Structure your life in that way so that your room doesn't become this like this room where I can do whatever I want, no one can see. And I think boredom is what causes that. So having structure. But if we're going to get to other things of structure, at least for me, I had to go sicko mode with how hard I had to fight this practically.
Yeah.
So I spent hours going on my Instagram, and every single time there was, this is like extreme, but this is what I had to do. Every time there was a video of a woman that was mildly sexual. Even if it wasn't overtly sexual, not interested. I did that for my entire Explore page.
I did the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's go. These are the lengths that's what I'm saying. That, like, Jesus says to cut out your eye, bro.
Yeah.
To you know what I'm saying? Like, if it calls you to sin, to like, throw it out.
Yeah.
So you got to take that approach. And so I went through my Instagram, every single thing that was like mildly sexual, not interested. I then would just delete Instagram. I deleted Snapchat. I deleted TikTok. Because a lot of times, I'm sure guys have heard this before, it's a pipeline. Instagram, you get hooked there, and then you go, oh, now I should do this. And that's the pipeline. Cut the pipeline in half. So I set up those guardrails. And then, this is going to sound cringe, and I used to hate this because my parents would not let me watch certain movies. And I'd be like, bro, what are we doing, dude? I'm trying to watch whatever it was, Spider-Man or whatever. But now, before watching movies, I will, and this is, once again, this is what I got to do. If it's an R-rated movie, I will, most of the time I'll still watch it, but if I see that it's because of nudity, as soon as that happens, I will pause, skip, and then replay. Because I know even just seeing it, even feeding my eyes with sexual content will have an effect later on.
Yeah.
Because now I've seen it again, right? So taking that aggressive stance practically in your life, I think, at least for me, it sounds like the same thing happened with you.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to fight it preemptively.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There, in the book that we were reading, like there's like circles of just like the middle is actually masturbation or watching porn, but like there's like circles of like you don't want to cross into these zones. And a lot of times we like to be like, let's say the middle is red and the middle is like yellow. We like to be in the yellow zone, like where we're flirting with sin, like we're watching movies that have sexual scenes, or we're scrolling on TikTok and Instagram of like models, or not even models, like TikTok has all those dances where like girls are like shaking their butts and stuff like that. Fitness influencers. We're just like, we just like their content, or like we think that they're pretty. But like in the back of our head, like we're flirting with our sin, and it's just bringing us closer to actually sinning. Well, lust is in the eye, so like you're committing adultery already. Like Matthew 5:28 or 26 is one of those two. But like we just like to flirt with sin. But like God calls us to be in the green zone that's on the outside, like completely away from like the guardrails that we can easily jump over. Like we want to be in the green zone where we're not even remotely flirting with our sin. So like that should be the standard, like right there.
Yeah. One of our pastors, I won't necessarily, I think it's fine, but I won't name him, at our church told me for him and his marriage, he doesn't think obviously he would ever cheat on his wife.
Yeah.
But because he knows that men have a proclivity to weakness, we're all one moment away from a lustful thought, a lustful sin, a horrific, like life-changing event. We all have that in us.
Yeah.
Carl Lentz, after the whole, I don't know if you know who that is. He was the Hillsong pastor.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
He famously came out and said, like, I have to pick this sort up every single day because I'm just one moment away from ruining my marriage.
Yeah.
You know? And so my pastor said he won't have private conversations with women, point blank, period, who aren't his wife. Not everybody needs to take that stance, but he says, you know what, for me, that is the point in which I would get maybe flirty or whatever. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I remember, not that I'm not a fan of Mike Pence, but I remember when Mike Pence, someone found out that he was like that too. They clowned him so hard. I thought that was hilarious. But now I'm like, dude, against sexual sin, which we know is one of the sins that God hates the most, sexual sin, you got to take a firm stance.
Yeah.
And so if that means deleting all your social media, if that means not watching any R-rated movies at all, take that step.
Yeah. Or like this is super drastic, but I know a lot of the ways that men I know fall into sexual sin is like the gym. Like it sounds super drastic.
I know.
But like I work like on a college campus, and like when I go to the gym, like college people just dress for attention. So like if that is the place that's leading you into your sexual sin, like cut it off. Like go to a LA Fitness, go to a Planet Fitness, go work out outside, take up calisthenics.
Get a membership at an elderly folks home, bro. Hit the gym over there, bro.
Whatever it takes, like if that's what it takes.
Yeah,
but like
that's good.
That could be the extent, or there was something else. I forgot it, but
the gym is a great one.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, if I'm being honest, the battle against lust, I think you'd probably agree. I don't think it ever goes away. I think it just changes. Right now, that is my biggest battle. The gym is insane. Dog, what we doing? It's unbelievable what people wear to the gym.
It's crazy. It's
basically just like you're seeing people naked, but like they're blue. You know, and that's it.
That's
Like straight up, it's
it
unbelievable.
confuses me.
Right.
Yeah.
Bro, it's I don't know. And so
baffled.
I'm actively, bro, pray for me, dog. It's one of those things where I am like, all right, Jesus, I'm going to think about you. I'm going to focus on you, right? I'm going to focus on you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Puerto Rican man. You understand that? I'm a Puerto Rican man. I am very attracted to women. And then they'd be walking. It's just like, what are we doing? It is so hard.
Yeah.
And I have to genuinely. This is another thing. Like, just start praying in the like. I've been at the gym and just started praying.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably look goofy. I'm on the thing. I'm just like, I drop the weights. I'm just like,
he's on his knees in the middle, in front of the bench, like, God, please, like, dude, are you done? Like, can I use it?
nah. But you have to take those drastic measures.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the last thing to wrap this part up is feeding yourself the word and community. It's like so important.
Mm-hmm.
That same pastor gave me the analogy of coals when they're in a grill together. That will stay hot for hours.
Mm-hmm.
You can take out a coal that's the same exact temperature as the other coals, but let it sit there for 20 minutes. It's like ice cold. Why? Because you need to be surrounded by community and the word. You need that.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to fight this without accountability partners, without the church, and without daily scripture, it's going to make it a lot harder. And I think that's another thing that made a difference in my life with this. What would you say to someone struggling with lust? This is a really big one. Who believes that they're in an unbreakable cycle?
Oof.
The first thing I would say before you answer really quick is I have felt that wholeheartedly. I felt like there's like this addiction triangle of doing the thing, saying you're never going to do it again, feeling horrible about yourself, and then doing the thing again. I was stuck in that triangle for years. For years. So before we get into any practicality of it, I am living proof that you are not bound to this cycle.
Yeah.
Like you can break this. I was in that cycle. It sounds like maybe you were as well.
Yeah.
Jesus frees and Jesus redeems.
Yes,
100%.
sir. Come on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just like testifying to the same thing. Like I was a slave to it. I think the first time I was exposed was I was in like second grade.
Yep.
I got a tablet and I don't even know why. I like definitely something added this, but I looked up boobies or butts or something like that. And then like everyone can like relate to this story. It just escalates into something. But as I started to step into God-centered community and started to step into purity groups, like God just started to work in my life. Like as soon as I gave my baggage on them and I fully was like, God, like, I feel like sometimes we submit our lives, but we don't give him like the key to every door in our life. And like, lust was one of those things I was holding back. I was scared to confess that, but once it took God used other people's vulnerability, like, dude, like I struggle with this too. And then I was like, okay, like I can actually come out about it. And I shared that. And then it opened up a whole new door, a whole new community of people pushing me to also fight the good fight. So we're both living proof of that. And God can change that. Like he can go away. He can go the different flow of the world, like the world is going towards just like be obsessed with your sin. Like masturbation is fine, but like the cycle is breakable, but it's only going to be found in Christ.
That's good. I think what's at the root of this question is guilt. Someone once told me this, bro, it rocked my world. You feeling overly guilty. Now, shame can be a good thing at times, for sure. We're not supposed to be doing these things, right? But if you feel overly guilty and you feel like you're in this cycle and you're just feeling bad about yourself and like God won't forgive you, when you feel overly guilty, you are telling Jesus up on that cross, yeah, what you did for everybody was phenomenal, but it's not quite good enough for this sin.
That's good.
That is a lie from the enemy. God forgives no matter what. We can get into the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit thing. But other than that, God redeems, God forgives. And do not believe that lie that you're stuck here or that because of how much you've sinned in this area, there is no hope. That's a rejection of what God did on the cross, straight up. And that really helped me with guilt of like, why am I going to hold on to something that Jesus already paid for?
Yeah.
Right?
And the enemy's just like, I think it's 1 Peter where it talks like the enemy's just like seeking to devour and
like a prowling lion,
like seeking to devour.
Yeah.
And like the way that lions are able to devour someone or animal so much easier if they're alone. So like the enemy wants you to be alone. He wants you to stay in that guilt and shame and just like hide away and not be in community. But like once you get in a community, just as like a gazelle is in a group of like a herd, like it's not going to be as easy prey anymore. So like have that mindset of just like comparing. Like there's so many analogies you can just bring up, but like if you just stay alone, the enemy's just gonna cook you. Just like
He's gonna cook you. We can close with this on the lust thing, and then we'll get to the banter. You have some sort of thing with Covenant Eyes, right? You used to?
I have a partnership.
Okay.
Yeah, like affiliate type thing.
Okay. Listen, I'm not getting a cut of any of this, but if we want to talk about drastic measures, Covenant Eyes was amazing for me. I still have it on my phone actually, and using softwares like that can help keep you accountable. Basically, for those who don't know, it'll essentially send screenshots to an accountability partner, which is unreal.
Yeah.
But having that is, once again, like you can understand all these things, but sometimes you just need a practical wall. And sometimes that'll just be the shame of like, yo, my boy cannot be seeing this, bro. If that's what it takes, do it.
Yeah.
And so, shameless plug, once again, I'm not going to cut anything, but it sounds like you also used it or have used it.
I actually have not used it.
Fraudulent. He's fraudulent, guys. He's fraudulent.
Bro, don't show this to Covenant.
No. Yeah, give me the freaking thing, bro. What are we doing, dog?
Yeah, but I have had friends who've used it. It was just like, it works really well. I just like didn't struggle in the way that I think that, it would have worked well for me, especially, So I do think it's good for majority of men. I just feel like in my specific scenario, it didn't.
And that's what's good about this. Find whatever the massive wall you can put up is, and do that. For a lot of people, it's this. For you, it's something else.
Yeah.
But okay, this is Bread and Banter. Today was a little bit more serious because we were giving our testimonies and all that. But we want a staple of our show to end with kind of a hotline. This will be for people sending in advice, sending funny stories. We'd love to just kind of connect with the community and genuinely just have a good time. We're not all serious, bro. I promise. So today we didn't get any hotlines submissions, bro. I don't know what happened, dog. But we prepared some ourselves.
No motion. I have no motion. No one responds.
No negative motion. Don't even look at mine. But I have a couple. So we have a couple things we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple stories, a couple questions.
Yeah.
The format essentially is if someone sends in a story or asks for advice, we would then, comment on the story or give some advice. And then, if it's something wild, we can then follow up next episode and get to it. But do you want to go first? A little bit of banter.
I think you should go first.
Okay. Should I start with racism right off the bat?
Yes.
Okay. Love this. This is a Christian podcast.
Yeah.
This is a Christian podcast.
Yeah. He loves racism though.
No. It's a Christian podcast. I love all people. My dad, who's gonna be the owner of this story, or the main character, he loves everybody. Okay. No, he's not racist. But you and I come from immigrant households.
Yes, we do.
And immigrants, racism is a little bit different. It's more of a mild thing. And it's not as much of a like genuine hatred as just like I don't really care. I'm gonna just say the thing. Dude. Okay. What's up, guys? Real quick. If you like this podcast, if you want to see more of it, the best way you can support is to subscribe and to hit the post notification bell. And we also want this to be a community, so please toss in guest ideas. We'll be having guests soon. Toss in topics, and we would love to interact with you down there. Now back to the show. This is a true story, all right? I watched Black Panther with my dad.
Oh.
Okay. I watched Black Panther with my dad. Actually, I think it was with my whole family. And we came out the theater. It was like the second one or whatever. And I'm like, so I have a white mom and a Puerto Rican dad. So I asked my mom, she, something normal, whatever. I asked my dad. He's like, dude, it was fine, bro, but I just don't understand. And I was like, what do you not understand? He's like, bro, like, I just don't understand. Like, why didn't they give Black Panther, like, like any kind of crazy powers. And I was like, what you mean, bro? He's like mad strong and mad fast. And he was like, yeah, but black people already have that. And I was like, oh my goodness. Said it with a straight face. He's like, well, I'm thinking actual superpowers, bro. Like,
that's the funny thing about immigrant parents. Like they'll say it with like a serious, like no reaction. It's just like that's just the way it is.
They nerfed him. Really, just strength and speed? I'm thinking him flying. And I was like, Dad, that is one of the most hilariously racist. It's like innocently racist.
Yeah, because like it's just like this isn't like racism. like I don't know, like a person flipped me off and calling me like something crazy. It's just like. It's almost in a way like ignorance, but it's just like racism. And it's
he's having a good time. Yeah, he didn't think anything of it. And me and my sister were like, bro. Dude.
It's like, Dad, don't get in the car. Get in the car.
Yeah, but low-key good point. No. So that's just a story I had. I mean, I don't even know if there's advice there. I think you get it, bro.
Yeah,
your parents, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's the normal occurrence.
Yeah. What else you got?
So on the same lines of racism, so I won't say this person's name, but he's gonna know what it is. Hopefully we can clip this one. But we were sitting in our purity group, and it had nothing to do with purity. But we were like going. We usually do like a confession time at the beginning, and then we got to just like the middle of the study, and he was just like, "Guys, I got something to confess." And we're just like, "What is bro about to say?" And he was just like, "Guys, like, I've been struggling with racism," and I'm the only black person in the room, only black person. He was just like, "Bro, like." The black guys at the rec, I just can't take it anymore." I was just like, what? And then one of the guys he was joking, but he was just like, he looked at me and was like, "Michael, are you okay?" And then
what'd you tell him?
I was just like, see, like I know this guy. I meet up with him.
Was he looking at you when you?
No. See,
madness, bro.
I know he's not racist. Like he's not racist at all. He was just. I'll just explain the story. So at the basketball, at the rec, at the college that I go to, there is a specific group of people, they are black. And every time a game gets really close, they will be like, they'll just make up fouls. Like, "Oh, he fouled me. Oh, like, he wasn't on the three-point line." Just like make up anything.
And this guy had enough?
Yes. He definitely had enough. They were, I guess it was like neck and neck. And they started calling everything. He was just like, he said that he thought during the game, was like, "Dude, like, it's cause they're black they're doing this." But like, he meets up with me. I'm black, so I know he's not racist. He was just like, he let the. I understand, because when I play at the rec, it's the same people, the same things, and stuff like that. But
I'm trying to think, how can we give advice? Did you give him advice?
Yeah, but it was like we were all kind of laughing. It's just like, oh, I just said his name. We can take it out. I was just like, that probably isn't. I know what you're saying, but like probably not the best way to say it, because if I didn't know you and there was other black people in the room, they might have taken that like way differently. But
also prefacing with, I got something to confess. Black people, bro. That's
unbelievable. I hate
them. Dang, bro. Yeah, dude, because I'm trying to think, if someone had said that into us, what would our actual advice be?
Yeah.
Like, there's always a little bit of truth to stereotypes.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Can we say that?
Yeah.
Is this a safe space, bro?
Yeah, this is a safe space.
That is, so, because people are going to get mad at me. There's a certain point where it's like, does he have somewhat of a point? If this was a group of a bunch of only Chinese basketball players. Mm-hmm. Would he be saying the same thing?
Probably not.
Probably not, but guess what? Every group is sinful. Every group's got their own issue.
Yes.
What I don't like, and this is from the comedy perspective, because I've done stand-up and I love stand-up, like, there is truth to this, but every group has their own thing. Yeah. And it's okay to point that out.
Yeah.
Like, that low-key makes sense, bro.
Yeah.
Okay? But it happens with everybody. You know, it happens with everybody, and we definitely don't have to escalate it to the black people.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. We cannot be saying those kind of things at all, okay? But I would say don't feel bad for noticing, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, maybe don't be saying it.
Yeah. I mean, like, some people, I actually talked about this last, like, Peter in the Bible was literally kind of racist. He did not like Gentiles. So it's just like,
Yo,
it's something
bro.
that he had to,
Paul
like,
and Peter had the whole beef, right?
yeah,
About
literally.
the table.
And he had to wrestle with God about it. So like, if that's something you actually struggle with, like, confess it,
Hey, I
bring
should
it
be
to
laughing.
the light.
Facts. If you're struggling with actual racism, dang, yeah, bring that to the Lord and a pastor.
Please.
I got a new story. Sorry, is that where we good on that
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
That's crazy. We're not racist though.
Yeah,
We
we're
love
not.
this,
We're
bro.
not.
This
Like,
is
we can't be racist. I'm
right.
black. You're Puerto Rican.
Bro, yeah, bro. I thought you were about to say Mexican and just get it wrong. You're from Honduras, so you get it like, bro.
Oh wow! I had another story,
Better
but I'll
say
say it for
madness?
another time.
All right.
Yeah.
This might just turn into the racism segment at the end of each. So speaking of white people, dude, listen to this, bro. I was on a flight, okay? I was on a flight relatively recently. I'm Puerto Rican. I spent some time growing up there. I worked there as a tour guide, and I'm on my way to do a tour, and I'm sitting next to a lady, and she's sitting next to her husband. Mm-hmm. We're on our way to Puerto Rico. That's a core part of the story. We are on our way to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
This lady has bought a ticket that says you're going to Puerto Rico. Okay.
Okay.
The flight attendant is giving us our drinks. Okay. This is a Spirit Airlines flight, which might have something to do with it.
Yeah, that definitely had to it.
And then she goes, I'm trying to get this quote correct. She asked for whatever, a Bloody Mary. For some reason, that's like the only time they acceptably drink tomato juice.
Yeah.
And then she goes, is Puerto Rico, she says this
Ooh.
to the attendant, and she says next to me, is Puerto Rico a country?
Okay.
And if not, what country is it part of? And where is it?
Wait, who was saying this?
The lady who was sitting next to me on a flight to Puerto Rico was asking,
Wow.
where is Puerto Rico? What country is it part of? And if it's not part of a country, what is it?
She's going there.
And she's going to Puerto Rico. So I'm out of whack. I'm like, how are you going to, in my eyes, I'm like, if you're booking a flight to Puerto Rico, you'd think she would have figured that out.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not making this up. This is where the advice comes in. This is where you can really help me. Later on in that same flight, I'm looking to my right. This is the white people segment. There is a guy. Let's play a game. Were his shoes on or off?
I want to say off.
They were off.
Okay.
Were his socks on or off?
Ooh, that off.
Okay. Now let's do a multiple choice part of this story.
Wow.
Were his feet on the ground, in the air, or somewhere else?
Nah. See, like, I don't want to say in the air, because that's why?
In the air would be crazy. I'll do you one better. I am not making this up. This is a true story. His feet were in the seat back pocket. Barefooted. Brother was sitting like this, bro. Barefoot in the seat back pocket.
Nah, I would've hit one of these.
Next to me, bro.
No.
Next to me. What? Literally next to me.
Wow.
What are you doing? What are you doing in that situation?
Oh.
What are you telling bro? Also, what is he like do? Like, where? What is he doing?
I'm actually just confused.
Think about he's an older guy sitting like this. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
how old are we? Are we talking like?
No, I said older. That's my bad because my parents would be catching strays right now. He's like late 50s.
Okay, like a normal.
But like this
middle-aged.
with his hands, and what was hilarious is the table thing couldn't even come all the way down. Right?
Wow.
So the table's like this. He's sitting there like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Do I have the right to say something? I did not.
Is he a hippie? Is that like long hair, like kind of typical? Like, okay, it makes sense why he's acting like this.
He had a mask on.
Oh.
So, that can mean something. But I didn't say anything. I literally, the reason why we're talking about this is because I wrote it down. I was like, I can't handle no one ever finding out about this.
Yeah, you gotta confess.
I need to let people know
You gotta confess
that there might be brothers on planes with their feet in the seatback pockets, barefoot.
Yeah, that's...
With his shoes, his socks were curled up in little balls in his shoes on the floor, right next to me.
Dang.
Spirit Airlines, bro. If you want a sponsorship, I got you.
Yeah,
I just
like
cut you
lock
a
it in
mean
right
promo,
now.
dude.
Like that's good. That's good. That's a good promo right there. Like lock it in. Dang. Yeah. Yeah, I simply would just move.
You'd move?
I would just move.
You wouldn't talk to him?
But like we're Christian and we're called to. Yeah. See, that was sin speaking.
Do you think Jesus would have I don't want to dabble in heresy here. I definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But are you trying to claim that Jesus wouldn't say something?
Oof. He would. He would be nice about it. He'd probably partake.
Yeah, honestly, Jesus would probably do something super cool like that.
Like to relate and then start a conversation. It's like,
yeah.
How's your soul doing? Like, there's a deeper issue.
Right. Let's take the feet out the seat back pocket, bro. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay. You had another one you wrote down here. Wife's question about death.
Okay. This isn't as crazy, but it's not about race, so we can kind of change it up.
Yeah, let's we're out. We're out.
She is white though, and I'm black, so I guess there's always race. Yeah, sorry. Intrusive thought. So we were sitting here right before the podcast, and she texted me. It was just like, yeah, so like, how would you respond if someone said like, okay, wait, let me rewind. If she died, and I was like, whoa.
Dude, girls always do.
They always do this,
bro.
Like whether it's like, oh, if I turn into a worm, I die, get hit by a bus.
Unbelievable hypotheticals.
Like, yeah, it's like crazy. So she's like, if I would die, and one of your friends came up to you, was just like, how? Like, do you think that Rachel would want you to move on? Like, or like, or no, she phrased like, Rachel would want you to move on if she passed away. Like, she would want that for you. She would want you to be happy. So I'm kind of just sitting here like thinking like.
There's no right answer.
Yeah, like how do I respond to this? Like how would you respond to
She
that?
just texted you that?
Well, she did it like a few.
But have you responded?
I don't even know how long we've been recording. But
have you responded?
No, I don't think so. I think I just said I'm recording a podcast. I'll respond to this later.
Yeah. Dang, bro. So she gave you that hypothetical.
Yeah.
So the question is, would you want me to move on?
Yeah.
She's asking. Wait.
If say like you would ask me like. Rachel would want you to move on. Like, how would I respond to you if you asked that to me?
Is she telling you, I would want you to move on and asking for your reaction? Or is she saying, would you move on or not?
She's basically saying, would you move on?
Okay.
But she also mentioned a text after. It's just like, I wouldn't want you to move on. So like I had to kind of like choose wisely. It's just like what makes more sense. Like am I I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well then we gotta differentiate the answers. That's a tongue twister. Into like let's keep it a buck, and then what's gonna be good for this relationship, right? We gotta keep the two, because I don't know if they're the same answer.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say, if we're being serious for a little bit.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of people who have. Not plenty of people. I know two specific people who were in that situation and are now happily married with somebody else. And I don't think it was
Yeah.
Who knows? I feel like the spouse would respect that to a certain level. Now, should you say that to your wife? No.
I agree.
You should not.
I that's kind of how I felt, and that's what I'm gonna say to her. I'm not gonna be like,
no.
Honestly, like I could not see myself with another person. Like even like. And there's not to hate on anyone who like has remarried after their significant other passed. Like that would be so hard. Just like because I feel like you just compared her to everyone. But yeah, I just thought it was funny because she always says crazy hypotheticals. Like, oh, if I would turn into a worm like right now, like would you keep me? And I was just like, you're going right in the trash. I hate worms.
Bro, yeah. I love that. All right, we should probably wrap. Please send in. Stories, questions, advice. We'd love to unpack them, give you guys advice, highlight hilarious stories going on. And then I think Michael, as well as on our own platform, we will post prior to episodes what the topic is, and we'd love to get questions coming in. Please share this with your friends. Subscribe, like, comment, all the garbage BS stuff you got to say for YouTube and for Spotify, all that. We're available on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. We have a TikTok. We have a Facebook.
Yes, sir.
For the moms. We have a Instagram.
Come on.
We got the whole thing. So please just share this.
Bang, bang.
This was amazing. I'm glad we're doing this. This was wild.
Dude, crazy.
But we will catch you guys in the next episode.
Yes, sir.
Bang.
Peace.
Peace. That's a wrap.
Yeah! Oh, shoot.
The mic, bro. Break my mic, dude.